American versus Russian swing. The biggest difference between the American and Russian swing, aka conventional kettlebell swing, is the height at which the kettlebell ends, the explosiveness required, and the involvement of the shoulders. There is also the fact that you simply shouldn't do an American swing with a very heavy weight. See page 87 for an example of the American swing. The problem with the American swing. The American swing gets a bad rap within the kettlebell community because of the fact that CrossFit athletes are not taught the conventional swing first. Without this foundation, it encourages the athlete to primarily use their shoulders and do a lot of pulling, rather than hip and leg drive to get the weight up with the swing. Hence the reason it's called American swing. When you consider that everything else in CrossFit when it comes to barbell work is pretty much pulling, it's quite easy for athletes to mistakenly apply that concept to the swing. This becomes a recipe for disaster and injury, especially with high reps and an awkward overhead position. The second problem is that one needs good shoulders and thoracic mobility before being able to put the kettlebell overhead with such a narrow grip, and most people don't have this. Why force the shoulders into an awkward position and a movement they are not ready for? You don't grab the barbell and do overhead squats with a narrow grip straight away, do you? No, you need to work up to that, and once you're able to do it, it becomes a show of mobility. Context is the key. When it comes to programming, if you want to work the shoulders, then throw some American swings in. Some people will say there are better ways to work the shoulders, and this is true, but it's not always about what's better. We'd have some really boring programs, and clients would get bored quite quickly if it were. I personally don't program American swings, but I can see how it would fit in a double-arm kettlebell complex, like a 3-time goblet squat, 3-time conventional swing, 3-time high swing, and 3-time American swing. By the way, I don't classify the high swing as an American swing. The high swing comes up just a bit higher than the conventional swing, in between shoulder height and above the head. I can also see the American swing as a progression to the kettlebell snatch or regression for those who are injured. If you want to swing really heavy, let's say 32 kilograms or over, then you should not do an American swing. Of course, Greg Glassman would say, most of our guys can easily do an American swing with 32 kilogram. And in fact, I'd be really surprised if, by most of our guys, he was referring to most of the guys from all boxes across the world, because that sounds really unlikely and very dangerous for most of his guys. The American swing movement standard requires the kettlebell to balance upside down above the head with arms locked out. Do this with a heavy kettlebell, and you're gambling with an injury upon each rep. To be honest, I'm sick of the war between the American and Russian swing. Let's stop trying to make one look better than the other. They're both good after proper education and within the right context. The context you should consider when deciding to include one or both are safety, weight, repetitions, objectives, audience, experience. The following is what Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, said about the American swing. On being first introduced to the kettlebell swing, our immediate response was, why not go overhead? Generally, we endeavor, sometimes reflexively, to lengthen the line of travel of any movement. Why? There are 2 reasons. The first is somewhat intuitive. We don't do half-rep pull-ups, we don't do half-rep squats, we don't do half-rep push-ups. If there is a natural range of motion to any movement, we like to complete it. To do otherwise seems unnatural. We would argue that partial reps are neurologically incomplete. The second reason deals with some fundamentals of physics and exercise physiology. From physics, we know that the higher we lift something and the more it weighs, the more work we are performing. Work is, in fact, equal to the weight lifted multiplied by the height we lift the object. Work performed divided by the time to completion is equal to the average power expressed in the effort. Power is exactly identical to the exercise physiologist's intensity. Intensity more work than any other measurable factor correlates to the physiological response. So, more work in less time or more weight moved farther in less time is largely a measure of an exercise's potency. When we swing the kettlebell to overhead, the American swing, we nearly double the range of motion compared to the Russian swing, and thereby double the work done each stroke. For any given time period, the power would be equivalent only if the Russian swing rate was twice the American swing rate. Greg Glassman, founder of CrossFit. CrossFit made a huge mistake by focusing on the American swing for years, which has now caused a lot of injury and inefficiency, not only in the swing, but also their kettlebell snatch, simply because the foundation for the snatch and American swing had not been laid properly. I also think it's a lot of bull to justify the American swing by saying it is more natural to complete. If that's the case, then why do deadlifts at all? Why not complete it with a clean or a snatch? Hold on. Just because I don't agree with the above statement does not mean I don't like the American swing. I'm just saying the above is not sufficient to justify it. CrossFit is a great system, but they don't utilize kettlebells well because of a lack of qualified kettlebell instruction. TC, RKC. I did not make the above comment, but I do agree with it. CrossFit is a great system, but it is not utilizing kettlebells well due to the lack of qualified kettlebell instruction. This applies not just to CrossFit, but also to most gyms across the world. I also don't think the comment only referred to the American swing, but to general kettlebell exercises employed within CrossFit boxes. If you're doing Olympic lifting, you get Olympic lifting coaches for teaching. If you're doing kettlebell training, you get... The American swing is such a controversial topic in the kettlebell training that I wanted to devote some time to it, and I've hopefully given you enough information to make a sound decision and the ability to reply appropriately if ever caught in the American versus Russian swing war.
Would you like to enter the world of kettlebell training? Lay a solid foundation upon which you can become a pro kettlebell enthusiast or trainer. Learn how to train with one portable, versatile tool which allows you to perform compound exercises, train unilateral, and in every aspect of fitness imaginable. Cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, mobility, strength, agility, muscular endurance, and much, much more. Train not only for awesome aesthetics, but also for abilities like improved proprioception, speed and power, plus many other abilities that will help improve not only daily life, but also performance in all types of sports, golf, tennis, baseball, MMA, BJJ, and more. You decide, buy the book and learn on your own, or buy the online course and become certified. You could pay a kettlebell instructor thousands of dollars and more than likely still not learn all the finer details and secrets that you will learn from this resource. This is not just for complete novices who have never touched a kettlebell in their life, but also those who have been training a while but have not had the opportunity to lay the proper foundations and understand the important intricacies of kettlebell training. Anyone who starts kettlebell training needs to follow the kettlebell journey step by step. They need to go through the rites of passage. There are no shortcuts. Chapters include: what is kettlebell training? Kettlebell safety, how to warm up for kettlebell training, how to choose your kettlebell, kettlebell grips, basic double arm swing instructions, kettlebell racking and cleaning, kettlebell pain, kettlebell golden rules, progression for beginners, overhead press, rows, stretching. Buy the book today and start learning straight away.